Why in the F is that security guard all up on Sophie Cunningham? And look, I think there is a reason she got up in Sophie's face. And I don't think there was any need to sort of bow up to Sophie like that.
The Indiana Fever finally earned a playoff moment to celebrate, but trust the WNBA to twist joy into drama. Sophie Cunningham, wearing a leg brace, simply wanted to cheer with her teammates after their big win. Instead, a league security guard stepped in and barked at her mid-celebration. Fans weren't pleased. Do you believe the WNBA is purposely targeting Sophie because she doesn't fit their narrative? Share your thoughts below. The stage was set. The Indiana Fever had just secured one of their biggest victories in years, moving forward in the playoffs without Caitlin Clark, who remained sidelined. The atmosphere was electric. Players erupted in celebration, while Sophie Cunningham, still recovering from her own injury, sat on the bench offering support to her teammates. Nothing unusual, nothing wrong, just a player in street clothes applauding her team's success.
Odyssey Sims hit the floor very hard during the game last night, and her teammates came out to the floor to check on her, except, of course, the girls on the bench, Caitlin Clark, Chloe Bibby, Sophie Cunningham, they came to half court. Did not cross the line, by the way. But for whatever reason, we had a situation involving Paula Blart, Mall Cop. That's right, played this time in the role by Wheezy from Jefferson. The Jeffersons, showed up last night to try to check Sophie Cunningham. Did she think Sophie Cunningham was about to run out there cause an incident? Sophie Cunningham's in a damn leg contraption. It's not even a brace, it's like a contraption.
But apparently that was enough to set off the WNBA's own rent-a-cop. Out of nowhere, league security strolled over and confronted Sophie like she had stormed the court or sparked some riot. And let's be clear, Sophie wasn't anywhere near the scores table, much less stepping onto the floor. She was standing by half court, cheering, not breaking a single rule. Yet in true WNBA fashion, the optics somehow became the story.
Odyssey was holding her right shoulder.
You could read it right on Sophie's face. First confusion, then disbelief, then that unmistakable Cunningham glare. And honestly, who could blame her? She's literally strapped into a leg brace. She isn't sprinting onto the floor anytime soon. Yet instead of responding with professionalism, the officer chose aggression, leaning over Sophie and shouting as if she were some kind of threat. The video instantly went viral, not because Sophie did anything wrong, but because it highlighted the strange double standard that has shadowed her entire career. Fans were furious. Within minutes, social media was buzzing. The conversation wasn't about the Fever's win or Lexi Hull's clutch performance. Instead, it centered on Sophie Cunningham, injured, cheering, yet treated like a criminal. The outrage was immediate and honestly, well-deserved. Because here's the truth. This wasn't an isolated moment. It's part of a bigger pattern. Just look at how Sophie has been portrayed compared to other WNBA players. She's bold, outspoken, and unapologetically herself.
And I think we all know that if there's one thing that male sports fans want to see in their spaces and on their screens, it's more of me.
She's also among the rare players who openly push back against the league's scripted narratives. Because of that, she's been singled out by certain media outlets and rival fan bases. It's no secret Sophie Cunningham has been branded the villain of the WNBA. But when league staff start treating her that way during a playoff victory, That's a line being crossed. Let's break this down logically. The Fever move on to the semifinals. On the bench, Caitlin Clark, Chloe BB, and Sophie Cunningham all celebrate from the sidelines. Not one of them steps onto the court while an injured player is down. They simply stand near midcourt, reacting the way every team does in big moments. Yet somehow, only Sophie is called out. Why not Caitlin? Why not Chloe? Why just Sophie? Fans caught it instantly. Twitter and YouTube comment sections lit up with people blasting the double standard. Some said it outright. Sophie gets targeted because she's blonde, white, and doesn't match the league's preferred narratives. Others pointed to hypocrisy. If Angel Reese or Natasha Cloud had done the same thing, they'd be praised as passionate, supportive teammates. Sophie, meanwhile, gets labeled entitled and out of control. The irony is that she didn't even act out. She stood firm, refused to back down, and showed she wouldn't be intimidated. But you could tell it was unnecessary. The cop wasn't keeping order. She was creating drama. And once fans saw it, frustration boiled over. This goes beyond one heated moment. It reflects the league's ongoing problem with players who don't fit its mold. Caitlin Clark has lived it for 2 seasons straight. She takes constant targeting, hard fouls go ignored. Then the media works overtime to downplay her impact. Sophie, already a polarizing figure, ends up caught in that same trap. Instead of embracing her popularity, the WNBA seems intent on undercutting it. Don't forget the numbers. Sophie Cunningham is among the league's most popular names, whether executives like it or not. She trends all the time, her highlights rack up views, and her presence elevates the Fever's profile. Even off the court, fans care about her, something that should matter for a league desperate for growth. But instead of using that momentum, the league lets moments like this play out, where Sophie gets publicly embarrassed by a cop during a playoff celebration. Now let's turn to the fan reaction, because it was brutal. Minutes after the clip surfaced, hashtags like #FreeSophie and #WNBA exposed started trending. Fans slammed the league for selective enforcement and for silencing players who won't play along. Some even tied it to past controversies. Angel Reese being unfairly blamed for fan boos, or Caitlin Clark's dangerous fouls brushed off as part of the game. The comments weren't gentle, and frankly, they didn't need to be. People called the officer everything from a power-hungry mall cop to the WNBA's latest clown show. Harsh? Sure, but it captured how exhausted fans feel. They want to celebrate basketball, not watch league officials manufacture problems out of nothing. And that's the core issue. The WNBA loves talking about growth, ratings, and finally being taken seriously. But whenever the spotlight hits, something like this overshadows it. Instead of celebrating the Fever's big win, the story becomes Sophie Cunningham being screamed at by a cop. That's not just bad optics, it's self-sabotage. This league has a PR crisis, and it keeps digging deeper. Fans don't want to watch favorite players treated like criminals for cheering. They don't want double standards, and they definitely don't want gaslighting that tells them everything's fine when it clearly isn't. And here's the kicker. This wasn't a fight, it wasn't chaos. It was celebration, pure playoff joy. If the WNBA can't even let its stars enjoy that without sparking controversy, how will it ever convince casual fans to invest in the product? Fast forward to the fallout, and it didn't fade overnight. It actually grew louder as fans dug in, realizing just how lopsided Sophie's treatment really was.